In the small town of Winchester, nestled among the dark forests and high hills, there were legends of vampires that had terrified the locals for centuries. At night, when the moon illuminated the streets with its pale light, the old men would gather around the fireplace and whisper about the shadows that roamed the neighborhood. One night, a group of friends, Emily, Jake, Liam, and Sarah, decided to spend the night in the woods to test their nerves and see if those stories about vampires were really true. They took along flashlights, some food, and plenty of courage, believing that they were just myths. A night in the woods. As they traveled deeper into the forest, silence enveloped them, with only the sound of their footsteps breaking the gloom. The silhouettes of the trees seemed ominous, and the wind whispered as if warning them of something. Soon they found a small clearing where they decided to stop and make a fire. "Have you heard of people going missing in these woods?" Emily asked, starting the fire. Jake grinned. "It's just a story to scare the kids." Liam, who was more serious, added, "But you have a chance to become part of the legend if you're not careful." Laughter erupted in response, but it was soon silenced when the stillness of the night was broken by a strange shadow flickering between the trees. The friends froze and fear began to creep into their hearts. Strange events. The atmosphere grew more tense by the minute. Suddenly the lanterns began to flicker and the air became cold, as if nature itself was resisting their presence. Sarah, sensing that something was wrong, offered to go back, but the others didn't want to be spooked by their own imagination. Suddenly they heard a rustle. Just as the excitement peaked, a tall figure with pale skin and bright red eyes emerged from the forest. It was a man, but at the same time it was not human. His clothes were dark and worn, and his smile was sinister and hypnotizing. "Are you looking for adventure, dear children?" he uttered, his voice sounding like the whisper of the wind. The friends, paralyzed with fear, could find no words. Becoming victimized. The figure approached, and they felt the coldness enveloping them. "My name is Victor, and I know many secrets of this forest," he said, the look in his eyes becoming more and more mesmerizing. "You wanted to experience fear? Let me show you a true night of horror." Sarah, who was most sensitive, began to tremble. "We have to leave," she screamed, but Victor only grinned. "Leave, but you're already here, and now you're mine." Terrible things began to happen to the friends. They saw the shadows around them begin to take shape, aiming for them. Liam, trying to save himself, threw himself to the side, but the shadows grabbed him and he disappeared into the darkness. Jake and Emily watched in horror, their hearts pounding in unison. Consequences. Sarah, on the verge of madness, ran to the fire hoping that the fire would protect her, but Victor only laughed. "The fire will not protect you from me. I am a nocturnal something that feeds on fear." Sarah, gathering all her courage, threw a burning stick at him. Victor screamed, but only for a moment. His body began to blur into thin air, and he disappeared, leaving behind only cold and silence. Emily and Jake, gripped by terror, rushed to escape. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Soon they ran out of the woods, but they couldn't look back. Liam was gone, and they knew they could never get him back. Wrap up. Since then, rumors began to spread in Winchester about a group of friends who went missing in the woods. They say that if you listen to the night wind, you can hear their cries for help. And Victor continues to roam the woods, waiting for new victims to satiate his thirst for fear and terror. The legends of vampires in this town have become even more terrifying, and every night when the moon shines brightly, the residents whisper about those who dared to summon the darkness.